Podcast. I'm your host, Loren Cribs. And in today's episode, the discussion will be about how do seniors feel about the last year of high school and how to get ready for college. But before we get into it, if you like this podcast, please hit the follow and like button and rate the Game Time Podcast 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all current podcast platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on notifications to the Game Time Podcast, and share this podcast with your friends and family. It will help promote my podcast to the YouTube algorithm and help reach other listeners just like yourselves. Please follow the social media platforms on Instagram at Game Time Podcast 2023, Twitter/X at Game T Podcast, Facebook at Game Time Podcast, and TikTok at Game T Podcast, everything lowercase. Now, let's get into it. Guys, this is your last year of high school, and this is your last year of playing high school football. Usually you guys are going through your summer camps, but now it feels different. You know that you and your other senior teammates don't have much time left to play this level of football ever again in your lives. Do you guys remember the quote from the movie Friday Night Lights or the beginning of the song, Clear Eyes, Full Heart, Can't Lose? If not, this is the quote. Well, it's real simple. You got 2 more quarters and that's it. Now, most of you guys have been playing this game for 10 years. You have 2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again as long as you live. I want you to take a moment, and I want you to look each other in the eyes. And I want you to put each other's hearts forever, because forever is about to happen here in just a few minutes. Guys, that's true. When it comes to your senior year, things go by so fast, happen in the blink of an eye. First, it's the first game of the season, then it'll be your senior night. Trust me, it'll all go by so fast. So I have a couple of things to share with you guys about your very last year. First thing I want to share with you guys is grades. I told you in the last podcast episode that I was going to bring this up because it's the most important thing to bring up. Because around this time in your last year, you shouldn't have many hard classes to take unless you're in AP classes, in which salute to those athletes that are taking those classes. But anyway, I know I talked about how important grades are, not only to you, but to all the athletes in your school. If you took my advice from my other podcast episodes, and you have good grades from your freshman year through your senior year, well, all there's left is to complete your last year of football in high school and graduate. If you sort of cared about your grades, then here are your options. If you are just an average to below average student, meaning 3.0 and 2.5 GPA, you can go to schools from D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO, community college, and post-grad schools. A D1 school may recruit you, but it's a situation basis if they like you or not. But if you didn't care about grades, then I'm telling you there's no point in trying. If you were ineligible to play in games because of your grades or other things that got you in trouble, then what's the point? You put yourself in that position. You're basically not going to get recruited if you make bad decisions in high school. And one more point to hit on is, if you're a senior, this is your last year. Don't be ineligible at all, because that is film that you won, but you're not going to get if you are ineligible. Also, you're setting a bad example for your underclassmen, so stay eligible and try to leave the rest of your senior year on a high note. Now let's move on to the second topic, talk to your teachers and your counselor. Now, the main reason I'm saying talk to your teachers and your counselor is because just in case you go to a certain college, you may need some recommendation letters from those people. But it's most likely you're going to get those recommendation letters if you're a good student during your time in high school. Now on to the third topic, FAFSA. Now this could have been with number 2, but I wanted to make it a point of its own. If you are a senior, go ahead and sign up for the FAFSA. It will help you if you don't have enough money to go to school. But for the FAFSA to work, your parents must be involved. The one that you would want the most out of the FAFSA program is the Pell Grant money, because the Pell Grant money is money that the government will give you and you don't have to pay it back. With the FAFSA, you can also take out student loans, but I would be careful on this step. Just have a good conversation with your counselor and your parents before doing the FAFSA. Now, on to number 4, helping out your underclassmen. At this point, you already know how high school works, and you've been through a lot at this point, but now the new freshmen have came in from middle school and they don't know how high school works just yet. So it's up to you and your other senior teammates to show them the ropes. If you do this and help those underclassmen out, it doesn't matter if they are freshmen, sophomores, or juniors. They all need help at some point, and you guys, as seniors, have to step up and be there for those guys. Now, if you don't do it, or you're just a plain dick to those guys, then it just shows that you're immature and you're not a leader. I mean, if you are this person, nobody's going to like you, and you're screwing up the future of the football team if you're doing this. Also, if you do show the underclassmen the ropes, the coaches will really appreciate you. Now, on to the 5th topic, make a backup in case something happens to you. Football is a mental and physical sport, and anything can happen on a day-by-day basis. So it's important to have a backup just in case something happens to you. Pick up a hobby outside of football. Get a job or have what you want to study in mind for college. Learn a skill that can make you money, because playing this sport is not guaranteed. Not everyone makes it to play football or any sport in college, which is why you need to have a backup plan just in case. Now, on to number 6. The season will go by very quickly. Enjoy your last season because it'll be quick. Enjoy the last time that your football coaches will be coaching you and the other seniors. Enjoy being around your underclassmen for one last season of high school football. Enjoy the last time you will be in your high school's locker room. Unless there's some crazy stuff going on in there, then you should just forget about it. Enjoy the bus rides to the game with the boys for one last season. Enjoy the pregame meals that you got. Enjoy your team's pregame walk. Enjoy your last homecoming. Enjoy the high school football experience for one last time. Enjoy your senior night. Don't put pressure on yourself and play like you don't have any expectations. Play free, basically, and don't let expectations cloud your judgment in football. Remember, this is a game that requires studying the game off the field and playing with instinct on the field. Now, to the last topic, senior night. Now, I can't lie to you guys. I didn't go to my senior night because I had left my high school team before it happened. But from what I heard, it was a very emotional night. Senior night is your and your other senior teammates' last time ever playing high school football on your team's turf. From what I heard, no senior is ready for this night because it symbolizes that it's over. This will be your last home game unless you're in the playoffs and have home advantage. It's going to be an emotional night for you guys. But at the end of the day, there is a game that still needs to be played. So now, after all the emotions have passed, it's time to get ready for one last hurrah from you and your senior teammates. And there's nothing else to do except play your best 60 minutes of football you can and hype up your teammates one more time. Because you know, and I know, you want to leave this stage of football on a high note. Now, that's it for this podcast episode. But before I go, I'm going to let everyone know that I'm going to update this podcast to not only help football players, but to help out other sports as well. So that's just covering basketball, baseball, track and field, soccer, volleyball, and any other college sport out there. Now, I know somebody is saying, why am I doing this? Well, it's because I realized I can help out more than just football players. I feel like I can help out other sports just as well with this podcast. So I just want to reach out to as many people as I can and help them out. But after all of that, that is it for this podcast. Now, remember, if you do like this podcast, please hit that follow and like button and rate the Game Time Podcast 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all current podcast platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications to the Game Time Podcast. And remember to share this podcast with your friends and family to help promote my podcast to the YouTube algorithm to help out other listeners just like yourselves. Please follow the social media platforms on Instagram at Game Time Podcast 2023, at Twitter/X at Game T Podcast, Facebook at Game Time Podcast, and TikTok at Game T Podcast, everything lowercase. I thank you guys for listening to GTP, and I hope you guys have a very beautiful day. Peace.